Hi, I'm Gary Stearman coming to you from Prophecy Watchers, and we're going to talk about the upcoming February 29th Orlando Prophecy Conference. With me is Bob Ulrich. Bob, you are a busy man.
I am. Where's Mondo? Yeah, I'm used to having Mondo out here with us. And
You are.
It's just like the old times.
It is like the old times. You know, I know you're really excited about Orlando, not only because of those speakers, but also because of what's going on in the world today. It's crazy.
Gary, it is unprecedented. In fact, normally I would just be able to rattle off all the things off the top of my head. Not that I'm getting older, but there's just so many things going on right now. I just jotted down some notes here. Russia, Ukraine, Israel, Gaza, Iran, China, the April eclipse, the Houthis, Donald Trump's courtroom saga, the rise of artificial intelligence, the World Economic Forum, the digital currency rollout, the BRICS nation, the two-state solution, and the coming presidential election. What a time to be alive.
It's an amazing time to be alive. The old saying, may you live in interesting times, which is called an ancient curse, because who wants to live in interesting times? Everything bad is happening. And we can complain about what's going on today, except for one thing. We have the Word of the Lord, we have the Holy Bible, we have prophecy. And Bob, it's encouraging when you read the Bible, no matter how afraid you might be of some of the things that could happen, it's still very encouraging to read prophecy.
Over the years, you've commented to me on several occasions that, Bob, why are you surprised? These are the things that the Bible tells us are going to happen right before Jesus returns. Now, we have a guest at our upcoming prophecy conference in Orlando that we're going to be live streaming. His name is Matt Freeman. He pastors New City Church here in Oklahoma City. And I met Matt a couple years ago. He is just retired from his engineering company. He's a full-time pastor now at a local church that teaches prophecy. And I asked Matt to come and speak at our Orlando event because we had a conversation about a passage in Hosea 6, 1 and 2. It actually goes back a little further. And I want to read this because, to me, this is a time marker to the Lord's return. Now, we're not date setters, but we're also cognizant that the Bible tells us to watch. We're told that that day will not escape us, shouldn't come as a surprise. It won't be a surprise to us. I mean, we're anticipating the return of Christ literally any day now. But I love this passage. It starts in Hosea 5:14. And it says, "For I will be unto Ephraim as a lion, as a young lion to the house of Judah. I, even I, will tear and go away. I will take away, and none shall rescue him." Now remember that this is written to Israel. This is not written to the church. "I will go and return to my place till they acknowledge their offense and seek my face. In their affliction, they will seek me early." And then this is where it gets interesting, more interesting. It says, "Come, let us return unto the Lord, for he hath torn, and he will heal us. He hath smitten, and he will bind us up. After 2 days, he will revive us. In the third day, he will raise us up, and we shall live in his sight. Then shall we know, if we follow on to know the Lord, his going forth is prepared as the morning. He shall come unto us as the rain, as the latter and former rain on the earth." Well, Gary, when I read that and I see 2 days and then the third day, how do you interpret that?
Bob, you have to go back to 1897, First Zionist Congress. Fast forward to May 14th, 1948. Fast forward to 1967 and the Six-Day War. Fast forward to where we are right now, another war. And what you have to conclude after reading Hosea, as Bob just did, is that we are living in that time zone. We can't set a date, but Israel's back, Bob, and Satan does not want Israel to be back in the land. I think that's evident right now because all of the dark side is after Israel.
Well, I'm sure you're familiar with the passage. It says, "One day with the Lord is as 1,000 years, and 1,000 years is one day." So when we see this 2-day marker, and then the third day,
yes,
you can't help but think it's a 2,000-year, and we don't know the start date of when that 2,000-year begins, and then the 1,000-year millennium. So when do you think Jesus actually ascended to heaven after he rose from the dead?
Well, not very long, and then there was a very short interval, but I don't know that we have a number of days.
We don't know the exact time, but let's put it this way. We're in the final stages of world history. I mean, that calendar has been ticking for a couple thousand, close to a couple thousand years now from the ascension.
Well, Bob, what has really surprised me is the anti-Semitism globally, and in our colleges, and even in our high schools around the country. We've seen marches against Israel, and who's mobilizing these marches? Well, of course, Satan. Satan does not want to see Israel come back into the land because that signifies his final demise. In other words, the events that transpire after Israel comes back to the land result in the destruction of Satan, and he's fighting like a man who is about to lose his life, which he is.
And you know, this whole concept of the two-state solution, as they call it, which is no solution at all, is being pushed by the Biden administration pretty heavily, with a heavy hand right now, by the leaders who are constantly pressuring Israel to accept the Palestinian state. And the resistance has been kind of fascinating, and they're just pushing. In fact, just recently, they basically said, well, we don't really need Israel to acknowledge a two-state solution. We'll just do it without Israel's agreement, which is just unbelievable. So here we sit on the final stages of history, and we're watching all these things happen. I'll be packing a truck today for Orlando. We'll be down in Orlando next Wednesday for the Orlando Prophecy Summit. We have 850 some odd people registered, and believe it or not, 250 people on a waiting list.
Wow, that's great, Bob.
Yeah, we're going to need a bigger boat.
We are indeed. You know, the fascinating thing about these conferences, I think I'm safe in saying that every conference we've ever held has revealed something to us. You come back from these conferences all fired up and full of new ideas, and it's as good for us as it is for the people that come.
I thought you were going to say you come back from these conferences exhausted. It's a lot of...
Well, you do, because you do the work.
It's a lot of hard work, but, you know, we're going to have, the solution to having a sold-out conference is live streaming. And ever since we went on Daystar 2.5 years ago, Daystar has brought us into the homes of people all around the world. Just an incredible blessing for an event like this, where people in all these foreign countries, you know, literally, I could name them all and rattle off all the names of the countries, but they're able now to tune into these events. The conference starts on February 29th. It goes for 4 days through the 3rd of March. We've got 18 speakers listed. That would include 19 with Gary. 37 messages are going to be launched through the live streaming feed. You're going to be able to watch at your convenience. You can watch live with the rest of the crowd in Orlando. You can watch at night when you get home from work. You can watch on Saturday morning. You'll actually have 6 entire months to watch all 37 messages, which is exciting to me because we're reaching people and planting seeds literally all around the world now that we never had the opportunity to do before.
Now, Bob, I wish I could be there, but once again, I'm not able to make it for a couple of reasons, but I'm working on a presentation.
And it's going to be included in the live streaming. Eventually.
Eventually. And I just have to pull my Bible over here and read something that I found in the Bible that just jumped out at me a couple of months ago. And in Zephaniah chapter 2, and I have to stop with a parenthesis and ask you, Bob, whoever reads Zephaniah?
Those people don't even know where it is. It's kind of hard to find.
A very, very small prophecy, and yet my eyes fell upon Zephaniah 2:4. And it says, for Gaza shall be forsaken. Well, that caught my attention right away. And Ashkelon, a desolation. Wow. And they shall drive out Ashdod at noonday, and Ekron shall be rooted up. I'm reading this, and I'm also watching television. I'm seeing this. Oh, this can't be. You're reading something into the Bible. You shouldn't do that, right? And then the next sentence, woe to the inhabitants of the seacoast, the nations of the Cherethites, it says in the King James Bible. So you do a little work on that word, Cherethites. Who are those people, the Cherethites? It's a capital CH, Cherethite. And long story short, the Cherethites are people who are charging, that is to say, as in a battle, carrying a knife or something, and running as fast as they can. And they are going to chop somebody's head off when they find their first enemy. So Cherethites comes from the Cheretim. Running assassins is a pretty good way to make that word come into our modern English. And remember October 7th?
How could anyone forget?
Running assassins. And I thought, okay, we need...
I see something interesting over there. You actually wrote an article.
Yeah, I wrote an article for the magazine called Gaza's Running Assassins. Bottom line, and we could talk about Zephaniah for a long time, bottom line, though, is that we're seeing the fulfillment of prophecy right now.
Yes, we are, and we're going to be discussing that over 4 days here. Literally just less than a week away now, which is hard to believe it's come so fast. We've got the leaders in the world of Bible prophecy with us. Names you're all familiar with: L.A. Maruli, Billy Crone, Bill Salas, Bill Koenig. I could go down the list of all of these people. You can find the names of everyone at prophecywatchers.com. 37 messages coming via live streaming. And, this has opened up an opportunity for all these speakers to share what the Lord has put on their heart, too.
Right.
Just looking at a couple of the message titles on here, I really almost didn't know, which ones to even list because one after another is so great. Mondo, of course, is going to be with us talking about the 10 Kings of Revelation, something you wrote about here about a year and a half ago. It was really an eye-opening article for people to realize that those 10 kings are described as kings without a kingdom.
Yes.
How do you be a king without a kingdom?
And by the way, Mondo is going to speak on that subject, and we'll answer that question.
Okay. Billy Crone has a new series on UFOs. Every day there's another hint, disclosure, coming to the world. All of the whistleblowers, all the military pilots, people coming out, talking about what actually they've been seeing for years that's been covered up. Tom Hughes, great title, The Gospel of Judas and the Tower of Babel. I can't imagine where he's going with that.
Yeah.
Tom is one of the rising stars in the world of Bible prophecy. He's really, he's left the pastorate now. He's a full-time prophecy guy, and I know he's really enjoying that opportunity. Gary, Alex Snowman is going to be with us for the first time. He's an investigative journalist, and he's going to be speaking about the coming digital currency, the central bank currency, the Fed dollar. And to me, this is one of the biggest hot buttons in the world of prophecy right now, and where we go with all that.
Well, when you control the money, you control everything.
There you go.
By the way, Bob, I just have to mention, you passed up J.B. Hickson. And
Just saving him for last.
Oh, you were? Okay, well, then we'll save him for last.
Go ahead.
I just wanted to make a remark about it. I've gotten to know JB a little bit lately, and Bob, the man, is possessed of an incredible store of knowledge. And his commentary on Bible prophecy is something you just have to hear. He is an amazing thinker.
He may have come up with one of the greatest titles ever, The Conspiracy Theory Conspiracy,
Yeah.
and subtitled Satan's Secret Societies and the CIA. So I'm eager to hear what JB has to say. He's got another message, his New World Order Timetable 2025, the blueprint for global tyranny. So he is on the cutting edge of a lot of things happening in the world that you're probably not going to hear about in church, which is what our conferences are all about. These are not normal events. You're going to hear things that, as they say, not safe for work, things you literally will probably not hear from the pulpit on a Sunday morning. Bill Salas, of course, is going to be talking about Jerusalem, talking about Psalm 83, talking about Jeremiah 49 and 50, talking about Isaiah 17, all these ancient prophecies in the Bible that we can see all the pieces coming into place now.
Bob, it's fascinating to see how all these speakers are coming together with messages that I kind of think knit into one big message. Of course, L.A. Maruli is going to be with us, and L.A., where L.A. goes, there is excitement. And he's found something lately, Bob, that he can't stop talking about.
He likes to call it boots on the ground. Yeah, he actually went to Roswell and went to the site of the crash of the supposed weather balloon in 1947. And he, with the help of some ground-penetrating radar equipment, he's discovered some strange metal, embedded in the ground. And there's the bigger story behind it than that. But he's excited to share his message. Andy Woods, take a look at Andy's message, Revelation 3:10. Why does that message matter?
Why does that message matter? Well, where is Revelation 3? It's right in the middle of the unveiling, the shift from our dispensation to the next dispensation, and everybody will want to hear his message. By the way, he and I once walked out on stage, and he's about 1.5 feet taller than I am, I think, and we got a big laugh. But the people quit laughing when he started talking. Let me tell you, he is serious.
Well, we're going to get a picture down there of Andy in between you and Mondo, and that'll be one for the ages for sure. He's a big guy.
He is.
But it's a verse to me that is really something I quote quite often. It basically says that we can escape this time of trouble that's going to come upon the whole world. And it's right before a door opens in heaven and the Apostle John is caught up to see the future in the book of Revelation. So to me, it's one of the greatest proofs of the pre-trib rapture. And we're not going to be here. The verse says we can escape that time. Well, how can you escape? Now, some people will want to say, well, God is going to protect you, divine protection. Then you read Revelation 13:7, which says the exact opposite. So one after another, all these speakers are delivering these powerful messages on the end times.
By the way, Bill Koenig's got to be with us. And Bill is situated in Washington, D.C. and environs, and he has his ear to the ground. He's always very much aware of what's happening politically, internationally. He always has some inside material based upon Bible prophecy, but also very, very, very much in contact with the latest news. So you got to hear him speak.
Bill has a lot of on-the-ground connections in Israel.
He does.
Across the Middle East. This message that he prepares changes every year because the situation in Israel changes every year, and I know he's having a hard time keeping up right now. Now, a lot of people are wondering about what's going to happen to America. Brandon Holthouse, who's a dynamic preacher, is going to be with us. One of his messages says, will the West survive? A lot of people are wondering, how does America meet our demise? Is America in Bible prophecy? Brandon's first message is the trap has been set for Israel. So he's following current events, seeing Israel and America, the big Satan and the little Satan, as the Islamic group calls us, and Israel. And so I'm eager to hear what Brandon has to say about what's about to happen. And what is about to happen?
Well, Bob, whatever it is, and I know that it's going to be dramatic, because we're living in dramatic times right now. And I just thank the Lord that you and I have been placed in the position we are in at this time in human history. It's a dramatic time to be alive, and it's a time when you can open the Bible and look at prophecy and actually see developments. Now, you can't set dates. A lot of people try. I have to confess that some years ago I tried a couple of times to set a date. I gave it up, but we're close.
Do you expect us to believe that you gave it up? I know you're still searching.
Of course.
We're all eager to see Jesus. There's no doubt about it. Join us February 29th, 4 days of blessing, 37 messages, all of them on cutting-edge subjects. These are not going to be boring messages you're going to have to take a nap through. These are things happening in our world today. How do you register for the live streaming? Head over to prophecywatchers.com. scroll down to, you see the live streaming banner. Click on the banner. It'll take you to a registration page. If you've live streamed with us in the past through our partner, Uscreen, you won't have to register again. But if you're live streaming for the first time, first thing you need to do is register, get your name and your email address and everything in proper order. So it's a pretty simple process once you get registered. A lot of people don't realize they need to register first. If you run into problems, call us here at the ministry. We have a customer service number. People here actually answer the phones up until 5 o'clock Central Time. So it's a pretty easy process.
And may I add, your prayers for us during this period would be very much appreciated. Pray for safety as we're on the road, and Bob's going to be on the road, and our man behind the cameras, Tyler, is always busy, and he's going to be driving. And so pray for prophecy watchers for safety, for efficiency, for energy to do all the things that have to be done. And we would appreciate that, Bob.
And pray for the people in attendance. You know, we always assume that everyone who comes to these prophecy conferences knows Jesus. And I always love the expression L.A. Maruli uses. He says, if you think you know him, you don't know him. And it's a scary thing to realize that you're not preaching to the choir. Yeah. There are people coming to this event who are guests of other people. They're hearing about Bible prophecy for the first time. They saw a program on TV. They decided to register, and they don't really know where they are in their relationship with the Lord. I just want to add one more thing. As we do every year, we've actually added 4 DVD bonuses for anyone who signs up for the live streaming. And they're good bonuses. They're great messages. I know Mondo has one of the messages. And it's something a little extra bonus just to say thank you for supporting the conference, for supporting Prophecy Watchers. These are big events, and they take a lot of time and effort.
They do, and pray for Bob that he'll have the energy to do everything he has to do. Nobody knows, except maybe a few of us who've been around him, how much energy he expends in these conferences. And so, Bob, we're going to be praying for you.
Thank you, Gary.
And I'm going to be watching live streaming. So, we always say, keep watching, everybody. We are